I feel stuck with my BF who is trying to get me pregnant without my consent. IF 24 and my BF 24 have been dating for 4 years. I'm also currently working part-time and studying at uni with a year and some left to finish. Everything was great between us. We talk and laugh like best friends, and I don't think I could find that bond elsewhere. I've only had one other BF, and before we got together I thought maybe there wasn't someone for me. I thought I really wanted to marry this guy. I'm not sure what to do, so I'll give as much info as I can. I've gotten to know his family and I get along well with them. They've always been very nice and welcoming towards me. The relationship was going well. Halfway through our relationship he asked me about children, more and more often. He said he wanted to have them before he got too old. I brushed it off and said we won't be too old, and if we take care of ourselves, we can still play with and take care of our kids. He became more pushy about having them, giving me scenarios of me getting pregnant during my last year or going on a term's leave and coming back to complete my degree. I declined, as I had made it clear from the beginning of the relationship that I wanted to be married and have my degree before having any kids. Besides that, I felt it would be a slippery slope where I wouldn't be able to complete it if I had done so. He tried hard to convince me by saying other women have done it, but so what? I'm not them. This was something that became reoccurring, where he would try to convince me that things were possible because another woman pulled it off. Like having children back to back and being perfectly fine afterwards, when I said it wasn't for me. I moved in with him to escape the wrath of my father, who became more aggressive after my mom and sister moved out without notice. They stayed in a shelter, and due to protocols I couldn't even visit them. I had to meet them at uni to talk. At this time the relationship was rocky, since I needed to focus more on school to get better grades. I aimed to work more hours as well, as I was in need of money. I'd go to work, then classes, then return to work. I work on campus. My weekends were spent completing assignments and studying for tests, often pulling all-nighters or at least trying. He'd often carry me to bed as I fell asleep often while studying. I had to do volunteer work as well. So my schedule was pretty full, and I can see how that hurt the relationship, as he felt I didn't spend enough time with him. He said he understands that I go to school and work, but that I can still do household chores, which I don't disagree wholeheartedly on. Thing is, what required organizing was things he left out or didn't toss in the garbage. I leave a few things around, but he eats snacks all the time, not something I eat, and he doesn't toss them in the bin. If I cleaned on Sunday, the house was dirty by Tuesday. He didn't do any of his dishes and just left them in the sink, even when no clean ones were left to use. He pays all the bills most of the time, so I'm not against cleaning, but I'm not home to do what he asks. Often I left home at 6 or 7 a.m., before him, and come home after him, minutes to 10. So I can't see how I can compromise on that and not take away from my sleep, classes, or the money I make. However, he tried to get me pregnant without my consent. I know I should have left, but I didn't want to go back to my dad and couldn't move in with my mom at the time. He did apologize, saying it's just his fear of not being able to have kids young and how he'll die without having a kid. I didn't tell my parents, but decided I'd have to gradually move out. Sometimes I feel sorry for him. Maybe it's because we go back to having good times after an argument and it feels like it was a mistake. But I feel like I'd be the villain to his family also, as they only tell me about how much he loves me and give me advice on how to make us work. I moved in with my mother after she found a place to stay which was close to uni. Some of my stuff is still at his place though. I'm not a morning person, so this definitely made it easier to get school/work. I can't fully move my stuff because she said she wasn't staying long and that the relatives, who allowed her to stay there, only wanted her there temporarily and she'll have to leave soon. She's not working, nor is my sister, and I earn enough for school only even with the extra hours I work. It became obvious that I couldn't fulfill the chores and do my studies. He was upset initially, but I think everything smoothed over. I explained why I left and that it became too much. We are still together and I visit him on the weekends. I have upcoming exams to study for. Perhaps things will be nice and easy. About a month ago, April, I dropped by on a Saturday. I ended up going to bed late, like 2 a.m., after studying. I woke to him trying to do it in the morning. I was very drained, and after a few times of me moving my body back, he left me alone. I later confronted him about it and asked why. He just said he won't do it again. It was such an odd response, I felt like it was bogus. I slept on the couch the next night as it was awkward and I really needed my sleep before going back to my mum's, as I had work first thing in the morning. I did pass back another week to visit and dealt with the same issue, which isn't surprising. My mom insists I wait to move in, but she isn't have a plan in action. Any advice? Apologies about the lack of timestamps.